Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Filthy Rich with podcast or Filthy Rich with Story podcast. My name is Hannah, and I am so excited for today's episode. I've actually put in a lot of research and thought into this because I want to give you a comprehensive guide for increasing your sales through content in 2026. And the reason why is because right now we're all like buckling down for focus mode. The new year always brings this energy of like making lists, focusing and following like step-by-step rules, right? So I wanted to give you this playbook essentially for creating content that stands out, positions you as the number one option in your industry, and sells for you so that you don't have to question what should I post today to make a sale. Now, I'm going to be covering 4 different focuses for you to think about in 2026. I'm also going to go over right now, or maybe even 2025, what we were focusing on that we need to just throw away, forget about, and instead focus on these 4 thoughts, because I feel like I've been seeing a huge trend with my clients, with the people that I've been doing free audits for. They all kind of come to me with the exact same thought process. And if they're experiencing that, I know you're experiencing it too. And it's just holding them back. It's dragging them back. And I really want you to take ownership of your content in 2026 and not really run on autopilot. I want you to be excited about your content. I want you to feel like confident behind it. You're not just posting content to post content and prove your worth. You're like, hey, this is who I am. You need to be investing in me, period, full stop. So let's kick off this episode by talking about this belief that you're still believing that I really want to shake out of you, because this is really going to hold you back. And I experienced this belief myself in the summer of 2023. You've probably heard this story before. I was posting 3 times a day for it was more than 90 days. I started it as a 90-day challenge because everyone said, give a strategy 90 days, and then if you're going to see results by 90 days, right? And everyone, the narrative was post 3 times a day and you'll be successful. And this was on TikTok specifically. I was trying to grow my TikTok account. I wasn't that experienced with that kind of marketing. I was really more comfortable on Instagram. And so I was posting 3 times a day because I am a good type A girly and I follow rules that I set for myself. And what's cool about this is I got really good at creating content quickly, but it did not give me the results that everyone was promising. It burned me out because I was over churning out as much content as possible. I got some email subscribers and I got a couple of low ticket sales, and I did get 2 or 3 clients from TikTok that were higher ticketed, but it wasn't for the effort and the volume I was putting into my content. It wasn't doing what I wanted it to do, right? What I wanted it to do was I wanted it to bring in an influx of clients and sales. And instead, it was just a little trickle. So your belief that you're thinking is, if I just post more, if I just try harder, if I just learn that strategy that I need, that secret strategy, then the sales will follow. And this belief is the same belief that I had in the summer of 2023. And it's not only exhausting you, but it's exhausting your audience, and it's numbing your buyers. Your people in your audience right now are just feeling numb because of the content that you've been churning out, right? And as we go into 2026, buyers are smarter, they're more skeptical, they're honestly overeducated, and they're being underactivated. And I think you can agree with this, because when you look at your own scrolling patterns, are you scrolling your feed and looking at all these business posts and actually reading them and going through them and being like, oh, I need to invest in this person? Or are you turning to your personal page and scrolling on that curated feed that are funny cat videos? And for me, it's skiing content and nature content and Like I get makeup videos and like personal style videos, right? Like I'm not scrolling on my business feed. I'm scrolling on like normal person feed. And so when I like do come across somebody's content that is in the business realm, the reason why it sticks out to me is because they're calling me in a very specific way. And in this episode, I'm going to be teaching you how to do that because right now, you're trying to keep up with everyone else. You're trying to prove your worth and go, look at how much I know. You should follow me. You should invest in me. And it's not working for your audience, right? And I have seen this over and over and over again with my own clients. They are posting constantly. They are showing up every single day. They are doing everything right. They are going above and beyond. You guys are not lazy. You guys are not being consistent. You're doing it all. You're posting content daily. You're selling daily on your stories. You're cross-posting on a million different platforms. You're sending emails every week or maybe even 2 times a week. You're going live. You're doing all the things. And it's not working right. Like you still feel invisible. And that honestly is a crime. You're doing more work than the people that are making millions are, but they are getting seen and you're not. So let's fix that. Right? It's really not a visibility problem. Like that does come into play here because your posts are not getting people to stick on them. But it's not because your content isn't valuable enough. Like you're creating good content. Like, how do I phrase this? Like, you're not bad at writing content. The issue is how you are writing the content, right? So like a person who doesn't know your brand and business might look at your post and go like, oh, this is good. It's really informative. It has good flow. It has good writing. But they are not going to see why it's not actually converting people unless they look at your brand as a whole. Does that make sense? Let's dive into it, okay? So the 2026 buyer reality, and this is the context that so many people are missing right now, is that buyers are exhausted by educational content. You're not reading educational content, right? Period. I know for a fact that like I am really more drawn to people's personal stories about business. I'm more drawn to, if I am reading educational content, they're like really short, like clear facts. I do listen to a lot of podcasts, and my cat has the zoomies. I listen to podcasts and I watch YouTube videos. That's where I'm getting my education from if I need education. But if I am thinking as a buyer, what I am looking for is someone to solve the problem that I have. So if I am looking to hire a VA, I'm not looking for the VA who's going to teach me how to organize my systems. I'm like, I don't care about that. I want to hire someone who's going to organize my systems, right? So when you think as a buyer, what are they looking for? They're looking for someone to solve their problem, yet you're still trying to be like, here's everything I know about my niche. And that's exhausting people. And they're just not reading it. And I'm going to call you out here because I think what's happened for you is because you've been posting content so consistently, you've gotten so good at writing educational content that it's safe content for you. Like it is easy for you to create. And you do it on autopilot. You're like, oh, an educational post, boom, got it. I'm going to type out blah, 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 and then post, boom. It's easy. It's not challenging for you. And you're in the content box there. You've put yourself in a box where you're like a one-trick pony. Can I write educational content? Check, yes. But what you're not good at, and we have to get honest with ourselves, because if we are trying to shift the sales and like the progress and the results we're making in our business, we do have to get honest with ourselves and call ourselves out. You need to challenge yourself to write that content that feels a little bit more edgy. Maybe it's the content that like is just direct, like you need to hire me. This is why you need to hire me. And if you're like, oh, how do I write that content? And you feel like you feel a little like stuck. You feel like a little fluttering in your chest. That's a sign that we work on that. If you feel like every time I post, a client win, it's like so repetitive. I already posted that. That's content we need to be focusing on, right? So in this episode, I'm outlining 4 of these focuses that I want you to sit down with a journal and write these down so that we can create a plan moving into 2026. Okay. 2025, you are actively trying to convince your audience that you know your stuff. 2026, we are trying to speak to your buyers. And your buyers are actively looking for who actually gets me, who feels safe to trust, right? Like who is actually transparent in their marketing and it says what they say. If I book a call with someone based on their content, am I going to get the exact same person on the other side of the screen? Or am I going to get someone who's like, okay, your 5 minutes is up for your hot seat, like next person, I don't really care, right? Like we've all been in a program like that where they're like, I go above and beyond in their content, and then you actually get on a call with them and they're like, they could not be fussed being on that call with you. They're like thinking about a million other things they want to be doing instead, and that feels shitty. So, so it's who actually gets me. So who actually understands the problem that I have. And they're like, I know exactly what you need. And this is what it is. Who feels safe for me? Like who actually develops trust with me? And then who isn't trying to convince me of something, right? Sometimes we can tell there's like something off in the content. It's like, I feel like you're trying, you know, that SpongeBob clip that's like, I feel like someone's trying to sell me something. Sales shouldn't feel like it's sneaky. It should just be like, oh, this is her offer, and I'm curious about it. Okay. So marketing is no longer about persuasion. We want to be focusing on recognition. We want to be focusing on people remembering our name attached to the service that we do. You want people to remember, like if they see your profile picture, you want them to be able to remember like 3 things: what you do, maybe a story about you, like your personality, and um like what offer they're interested in right now, right? So let's move on to focus number 1, and it's your positioning. This is not your niche. This is not your branding, right? Like every time I say positioning, people are like, well, I don't want to narrow down my niche. I am multi-passionate. I am a Manny Jen, and I like have so many different ideas. No, no, no. This is not, you're not getting into like a one-trick pony type of situation right here. Let me break down the difference between your niche, your branding, and your legacy positioning. Your niche is what you do. So let's say you're a social media manager, that is your niche. Or you're a fitness coach, that is your niche. Your branding is how you look. That is like the color schemes you use, your brand voice, your imagery, your sounds, your, you know, like all of that's how you look. Your positioning is what you're known for and remembered for. Okay. So you need all of these, right? Like you need to know what you do. You need to have branding that people can easily recognize you for, but you also need to be remembered. And that's the stuff that you're probably missing out on. You probably have really cute branding. You probably, even if you haven't invested in a brand expert, you probably have some kind of cohesive look already. You know what you do. Like if you're listening to the podcast, I have no doubt that you already have offers in place. You have a process in place, but you're skimming over the what you're known for, because there's a part of you inside that's like, well, who am I to say what I'm known for? Who am I to be remembered? Like you're still playing a small girl here. You're still playing small and safe. And that's why we're leaning into educational content that feels really easy, but your audience is like bored. So why this really matters in 2026 is that the saturation, yes, the market is saturated right now, has flattened expertise because everyone sounds qualified. Everyone can do a quick Google search, plug in a prompt into ChatGPT, do a little YouTube watch, and then create a carousel around it. The differentiator is why your work exists and who it's for on a deeper level. Like you need to, if you take one thing out of this podcast episode, you need to get really darn specific about why you are different than other people in your niche. Let that sit in. I'm gonna drink a little coffee. So some examples, right? I thrive off of like context when I'm educating. Um, there are definitely people like if you go to scroll your feed right now, you'll see a bunch of coaches or social media managers or whoever, like whoever's in your niche, who just blend together. They're all posting the same things. They're all posting educational content that basically sound the same. They all have similar branding, like the beige, or like the high luxe type of branding. And then there are the coaches, and I'm just using coaches as an example, but the coaches that you can really summarize in one sentence. Like you can think of a couple of names and tell me what you know them for. But then there's a lot of other people that you can't. You're like, yeah, like I recognize that name, I recognize that face. I maybe even follow them, but I can't really tell you what they do unless I like go to their bio and go, oh, she's a mindset coach and she focuses, right? Like your goal is to get people to see your face and your name and be like, this is what she does. And the ones that feel unforgettable, the ones that are sticking in your mind, they're not necessarily louder. They're not posting more necessarily. Some might be, but they're not louder. They're not like some people think, oh, I have to be extroverted and like this really bubbly personality to stand out. That's not true. I work with introverted people. I myself was a certifiable shy girl in high school. I was so shy. I don't know how I have the confidence to show up like this on social media, but I do. Um, but they're really not louder. They're not more extroverted. They're not like flashy. I mean, again, like there are caveats to this. There are some people that really rely on flashy, like luxe marketing to make themselves feel more expensive. And that's all intentional marketing there. But it's just that they're clearer. They are like more at home with their work. They're more confident with their sales. They're like really grounded in the fact that they know what they do. They're like, you can either work with me or not, but either way, I am still doing the work every single day. And like, this is the stuff that I live and breathe. Let me know if that makes sense to you. Send me a DM on Instagram and let me know if this is a good episode and you've been really enjoying this because I love feedback like that. Okay. So that was focus number one is your positioning. So why your work exists and who it's actually for on a deeper level, what you're known for and what you're remembered for. Think about it. So for example, for me, my niche is social media marketing, right? My branding is I've just started to evolve and use more oranges and blues in my branding. So that's cool. Little side fact that you're going to see more of that in 2026 for me. But my positioning is tied to my story. It's tied to I've tried posting 3 times a day. It didn't work. I tried posting educational content. It didn't work. What works for me is using story to give a peek of what it's like to work with me behind the scenes, and it sells for me. So using story to sell. I didn't rehearse that, but that's the gist of it, right? Like I have a whole document of why I am different from other social media marketers, content coaches, strategists. Like you can create a chart with different marketing strategists in my niche, and we would all sound different. We would all sound different. And it also comes down like personality and like how you handle things and speak to people, and each person should sound unique. And the reason why, just a little side note before we get into focus 2, if you are not able to differentiate yourself into different, like if I'm visualizing a table, right, and each one's different, when you start to sound like every other person and you create content like every other person because your strategy looks like every other person, then that's when people can't recognize you for what you do, So that's a problem. And that's why this is focused on number one, because it's so, so important. I really want you to remember that saturation has flattened expertise. Everyone sounds qualified, so you don't have to worry about trying to prove how smart you are. I know we all came from the type A, straight A student vibe where everyone told us, oh, the smartest people get the best colleges, you can get the best jobs. That doesn't matter anymore. Some of the dummies are making the most money online because they're really good at speaking to what they know people want. Okay, so we're gonna fix that because I know you're in this for the right stuff. So let's get into focus number two. So focus number two for 2026, you guessed it, is story as strategy, not just a content filler. Sometimes I think people use storytelling as they're like, oh, what should I post today? Oh, I'll just post my story. And I know it's going to get me likes and comments because people always like find me really relatable when I post this stuff. So it'll be a good boost to the algorithm. No, no, no. Storytelling is not vulnerable posts. Storytelling is a sales system when done right? It's a way to build trust without having to chase people down. It's a way to pre-qualify your buyers. And it's a way to shorten the buyer decision-making window. The window is when someone lands on your page, they build that know, like, and trust with you, and then they decide to buy. Sometimes that takes months for people, and we can condense that down into a matter of days using story as a sales system. And the one thing that so many people get wrong, and I could do an entire episode on this, is that they think story is about them. And content, as a side note, content is not about you. Content is not about you. And my favorite example for this is Subaru commercials. If you think about Subarus, I bet you have some imagery that comes to your mind. Everyone calls it the lesbian car. I have a Subaru. I am not a lesbian, but I think of Subarus as outdoorsy, like crunchy granola. And I also associate like golden retrievers with Subarus. And why do I associate golden retrievers and crunchy granola with Subarus? It's because their commercials show families or show like this adventurous couple with a dog going to these remote trails that like maybe normal cars couldn't get to, and they show the adventure. Now the commercial could be like, if we think about how most people sell online, like the people that are blending in, they'll be like, here is my car. It's got 4 tires. The tires have this type of tread so that they don't slip on ice. That has, it can sit 5 people comfortably. And it has this trunk that, has X amount of square footage. And it has this miles per gallon, fuel efficiency, right? Like that's what most of you are doing for sales. You're like, here's my program. You get 2 calls a month with me. You get chat support with me. You get an access to this whole resource library. And your people are like, okay, whatever, but what is that going to do for me? Right? This is where we go back into your content isn't about you. It's about your viewer. And the whole premise of my course that I have, Main Character Messaging, is flipping that script. It's flipping your content from talking about yourself and trying to prove your worth to creating content that pulls people in because you're speaking to them. So what Subaru does, and honestly, a lot of really good marketers do, like all commercials you see, is they're telling you the specs without telling you the specs. So they're using imagery and telling a story in every single post. So the Subaru commercial will open up with the car like zooming up this like rugged mountain trail, and they then go inside. So they're zooming up this rugged mountain trail, and so that the tires are 4-wheel drive capabilities. They have really good tires that can have good treads and grip, right, to take you on these trails that maybe your car right now couldn't do. And then they take you inside, and the people are smiling and they're like excited, and they've got hiking gear in the back seat. And so that the car can fit all this stuff because they're showing you that. And then they show like I don't know, the dog and everything. And maybe they're talking over their like the car that gets you to your next adventure, right? So they're selling the car without saying, buy my car, without saying, here are the tires, here's how the square footage, the miles per gallon. They're painting a story of like, you want to be hiking these rugged off-road trails that you normally can't get to in your little dinky car now. Subaru is going to get you there. So this is what we can do for your branding as well, right? It's not join my offer, it's got 2 calls a month and this kind of chat support. You have to tell the story of what it's like to be in your offer. And it's all about helping your clients locate themselves inside of your work. Really important distinctions here. Trauma dumping is not storytelling. In fact, that is making you sound less trustworthy. Okay? Timelines, like I started in 2020 and then this happened and then this happened. That is not a transformation. Okay. A lot of you are like, I started my business in 2020 and then I lost all my sales in 22 and now here I am. Okay. Well, what did you learn from that? How are you going to help me? Random personal shares are not this intentional strategic narrative. I need you to leave this call with this. Okay, we're on a little chit chat strategy session. If you're watching this on YouTube or if you're watching the video podcast on Spotify or Apple or whatever, we're on a strategy session right now. I need you to get that into your head. Okay, so story as a strategy, it's a sales system. It is a way to get into your buyers' brains and say, here's what it's actually like to work with me. Here's what you would look like if you worked with me. This is what it looks like to work. This is how people get to see themselves behind the screen, behind the content, actually like sitting across the camera from you and getting a strategy session, for example. This is how you're going to pre-qualify your buyers so that you're not getting the people that are like they go all in and then they don't show up or they don't actually do what you say that to do, or they like are super critical. They like don't trust what you say. We're going to eliminate that. We're going to eliminate this. We're going to pre-qualify your buyers with a sales system that's built around story. And we're going to shorten the decision-making window, right? So focus number 1 was your positioning. Focus number 2 is having story as a strategy. Focus number 3 is audience activation over audience growth. So we're focusing on activating your people, not just growing your follower account. I don't know why we're literally going into 2026, y'all, and you're still obsessed with the number of views you're getting, the number of followers you have. You're still telling yourself, oh, it's because I don't have enough eyeballs on my work. If I had more eyeballs, I would get more people into my programs. No. I am not a viral hater. Like, if you want to go viral, we can get you views. But I want to make sure that you actually know how to convert viewers into buyers before we do that. So I know like you've heard this before, yet you still think, oh, if I pay for ads, I'll get more eyes on my content and I'll get more people to buy. But you're not getting people to buy now, right? So like, how do you think that would, it doesn't add up, people. 10K disengaged followers are not going to outperform 1K activated ones. So I have had clients with really large followings. Like I have like 800 followers on Instagram and like 320 on Threads and 50 subscribers on YouTube. Hello. But I make more money than a client who came to me with, I think she had like 7,000 followers on Instagram. I was making more money than her, right? Because it's not about the number of people in your audience. It's knowing how to activate them and move them to buy, right? So when we started doing that work, she was getting like her posts were getting viewed. She had people commenting. She was getting views. She had followers, obviously. She had a lot of people viewing her stories, but no one was buying. Why was no one buying? Because she wasn't actually selling to them. All of her content was really personal. And so she positioned herself, to go back to focus number one, she positioned herself as a friend instead of as an expert to invest in. Okay, so this is why your follower count really doesn't matter. We have to start with that positioning, and then we have to start with having a strategy in place to convert those buyers into, or to convert those viewers into buyers, right? And so you could have an audience of 100 people, and we could sell to those people. And then as your audience grows and grows and grows, the volume of sales will grow and grow and grow with you. But you can get a client from 100 people. You can get a couple clients from that. Okay, so what you need to be focusing on in 2026 is your next client. It's not, oh, I need 10,000 views, or I need 10,000 followers, whatever. I remember in 2020, everyone was like, get a vision board, or, set your goal for like your lock screen. My lock screen had, this is really embarrassing. My lock screen had my Instagram account at the time with 10,000 followers circled and like a little celebration. I have never hit 10,000 followers on Instagram. I did on TikTok, but regardless, it doesn't matter, because I'm happy with the clients that I'm working with. It doesn't matter how many followers I have. I'm really here to make money, right? And I think you are too. So what I want you to focus on in 2026, instead of getting more views and more followers, is I want you to focus on how many conversations can you start? How many people can you get from viewing your reel or your carousel or your thread or whatever platform you're using into your DMs and like actually talking to you? How many people can you invite them to respond to you? Like, how many responses can you get? How many moments can you create where you can get people to participate, not just consume? Because everyone's out there just mindlessly scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And it is so hard for you to get them to stop, watch, or read. That's like, stop is the hard part. Watching the whole thing or reading the whole thing, also hard. Then the last thing that's so difficult is actually getting them to do something about it. Like when I scroll, I don't comment, I don't do anything. So you want them to engage, you want them to take that step to comment or to go to your DMs or to start a conversation with you in some way. So that's your goal for 2026. It's not how many views do I get, but how many engaging responses and participation moments I can get. Marketing right now, the algorithm, how it works is the more people are responding to you, the more they get it shown, right? So like you could have a really good trend, like a trending sound and stuff, and that might get you some views in the short run, but then the next post that you do is just going to fall flat because you want people to actually engage with you. And also, side note, the best sales conversations feel mutual, right? Like it feels like when the person's like, hey, I'm interested in your offer. Can you tell me more? And you're like kind of flirting back and forth. That feels really, really good. Versus when it feels like scripted and kind of forced, that doesn't feel good. So your goal is to get your content selling for you using that story sales system. And then moving them, shifting them into a conversation in your DMs that feels natural and flows because you've pre-qualified them. They already know what your offer is and they're interested. And now all you have to do is like, great, you'd be a perfect fit. Sign the contract. Let's go. Let's manifest more of that in 2026. Focus number 4, we're focusing on depth versus speed. I'm giving you a permission slip to slow down and go deeper. And I have done this myself. You might have noticed that I have drastically cut down the amount of posts I'm doing on Instagram. The reason for this is it's intentional. I'm not being lazy. Okay. Lazy is not my middle name. The reason for this is if we go back to when I started this episode and I was talking about the summer of 2023, where I was doing this challenge for myself to post 3 times a day for 90 days straight on TikTok. And I was churning out the content, but it wasn't landing. Like I really wasn't seeing the response that I wanted to see until I slowed down. And in that time frame, I went from 3 posts a day to 1 post a day. So it wasn't like I slowed down a lot. I was still posting a lot of content, but I took the energy that I put into recording 3 videos a day into one really good piece of content. And that good piece of content focused on these 4 focuses that I am talking about in this episode. I focused on what makes me different? How can I show people what it's actually like to be in my work and want to be a part of that? How can I build more conversations? And that's what I transformed the 3 posts a day to 1 post a day, right? And when I did that, that's when it started working for me. That's when I had my $7,000 day, cash day, which is insane. I think before that, my biggest cash day was like $200 or something, maybe like 300, because I had a container that was $300 a month. So I must have had a $300 cash day. But I went from a $300 cash day to a $7,000 cash day. I was like, holy cow, what's happening? And then 2 weeks after that, I sold half the spots to my mastermind in 48 hours. It was so cool. But the reason for that was because I prioritized going deeper and slowing down over the volume of posts. So I want to speak to that because right now I am intentionally slowing down even more. You might have noticed, like I said, that I'm posting less on Instagram. I'm posting about 3 to 4 times on my feed per week. I'm focusing on going deeper in my stories. So what that does is the people that like to consume my content, they're going to be like, well, Hannah hasn't posted. So they're going to go then look at my stories and see what I'm up to because, oh, surprise, I've got more content there. So what that's going to do is it's going to intentionally increase the number of views that I get to my stories. I am posting every single day on Threads, but it takes me like 5 seconds and they're way less scripted. Like I'm not going deep. I'm not educating or anything on there. I'm like just sharing behind the scenes, like little snippets of my brain. And that's building trust and it's building familiarity and it's building a community. And then if you want more of me, you have to get off of Instagram, get off of Threads and watch my podcast or listen to my podcast, go to my YouTube and really like sit down for class. And most of these are going to be face to face because I want to get people in the feeling of what it's like to be on a call with me. This is all extremely intentional. And then I also want people to join my email list where I teach people I break down what I'm doing on these podcasts even deeper on my email list, right? So like there's layers. So you get a little taste of me on my Instagram. And then it's like people want more. Oh, I want more. I want more. So they go to my stories. It's all intentional, right? So I want you to focus on that in 2026 as well. I want you to post really intentional, sales-focused content on your feed. Your posts, every single post you should be doing should be triggering some part of your buyer psychology so that they're recognizing themselves in it. They understand how you can solve the problem that they have and they understand which offer they are supposed to be going into and you're getting them thinking about joining that offer. And then you take them deeper off the platform where it's in a more intimate setting and you're breaking it down even further for them. Okay. So your trends, like if you're just hopping from trend to trend, like I see videos all the time that are still like this was happening in 2023 when I was trying to go 3 posts a day of people trying to say like, here's what to post to get out of the 200 view jail. Those trend hops back and forth, it's just breaking trust. It's actually not showing people at all what it's like to work with you. It's just showing you having fun like to a trend, which is great in moderation, but that's not going to sell for you. You need to be doing those in addition to the sales system that we've built with Story. Repeating your core message is going to be a strength for you. So in every single podcast episode, I go over my method, right? Like I go over positioning, story, clear messaging, sales, like it's the same. Sorry, but I frame it in a different way. And that is getting you to think, Hannah's method works. She has all these stories that back it up. I see potential, and if I join her offer, she's going to help me. That's all. That's marketing, y'all. So I want you to do that for your business and focus on repeating your core message, getting remembered for your core message. So you're repeating it over and over and over again in different ways, and getting people to remember and associate your name with that message. And then I also want you to think about like how when you go deeper like this, not educational. I know this is educational, but I'm teaching in a way that highlights my core message and sells to you at the same time. And if you have a question about how to transform your educational content into story-based content, hit me up in the DMs, because I would love to, like, if you sent me one of your educational posts, I could show you how to change that into a post that's actually going to sell for you instead. That'd be really fun. So just go and hit me up on Instagram. But when you use stories to sell for you, it helps you build confidence, because it's not like, oh my God, I got to prove my worth by spitting up as much value as possible. And like, oh, that last post didn't work, so I need to like come up with something even more valuable. That is deteriorating your confidence. It's making you doubt yourself. It's making you think, oh, I need to go study what Sally Sue does because it's clearly working for her, but it's not working for me, so I must be missing something. But when you scale back to selling with story, each post is like built around an actual lived experience that you've had, and you're using that as like the bridge to teach people about your offer, right? Like, so for example, I in this episode have used my story of how I posted 3 times a day, and that didn't work for me until I slowed down and I got deeper and focused on why me, the people that I want to work with, why now, those 3 questions, which is the center of my methods, my strategy that I teach with my clients. I lost my train of thought. Oh, I was using that story, right, as the through line of this episode. So you could see in real time how these 4 focuses helped me accomplish what you want to accomplish. So you're seeing yourself in my story. You're identifying like, yeah, I've tried posting 3 times a day too. I tried doing a visibility sprint. It didn't work. I know that like I've been posting content consistently. That's not my problem. What is my problem? And I'm like, hey, I've been there too. Your problem is your positioning. Your problem is you're not using story to sell. Your problem is that you're focusing on the wrong goals. You're focusing on getting more views instead of building more conversations. And this is what you need to do instead. Can you see the difference there? So we're going to start wrapping this up. I don't want you to feel like you have to reinvent the wheel going into 2026. That's really exhausting. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If you build your brand, your content, your marketing around the same core pillars, like if we want to go back to basic marketing, but it's like the same things you do for your clients. This doesn't just apply for coaches. It applies for service providers, done for you service providers. It applies to like products too, right? Like, why is your product different than all the other products in the market? What makes you different? How can I see myself using that product? That is all marketing. And it's the same whether you're selling a product or if you're selling a car or if you're selling a done for you social media management package or hair styling, whatever. It's all the same. And you can use a story sales system to accomplish that for you. And that's what I want you to do in 2026 is I want you to get more confident with bragging about yourself. And you're not going to be doing it and like, you should hire me because look at, I'm so smart. I know all these things. No, you're going to tell stories of what it's like to work with you, the different interactions you have with your clients. And I get this all the time. People think, oh, I don't have good transformations. I don't have good testimonials. I don't have good stories. Honestly, the stories that sell the most for my clients are the nuanced ones, the ones where they're on a call doing the same thing that they do with all of their clients. And it feels so routine for them. But they tell that super routine story and it gets people to buy because it just shows how good they are at their job, right? So like if you have worked with a client before or have gotten yourself results, or if you did like a little trade swap with a friend and you got your friend results, or a trade service kind of swap with your friends and you got your friend a result, then I guarantee you have stories that we can pull from, right? Like shift your mind from stories have to be this huge rags to riches story to these little micro moments where you can open a window for people to gaze in and see what it's like to work with you. Okay. So this was a big episode. And I want you to really focus in to those 4 focuses. I want you to stop asking, what should I post today? And I want you to start asking yourself, what does my buyer need to realize? Your buyer's currently doing things, trying things, searching for solutions. What do they need to realize that's going to be kind of like groundbreaking for them? And then I want you to build a bank of stories. Don't stress out. It could just be like a little list on your notes app, just like little sentences. But I want you to build a story bank around your client beliefs, objections that you might be getting, and identity shifts that need to happen. And then I need you to start marketing from this obsession with your offer. Not really like, how much can I teach people to prove how much I know, but like, why is your offer amazing? Why is your offer going to help people get results when maybe they've been in an offer before and it didn't get them results? Think about your clients. Think about working with the clients. Think about the feeling you get after getting out of a client session and you like feel so good. Then create content from there. And if you are ready to go from just checking the box every single day of like, okay, I'm posting content. Okay, I'm creating educational posts. Oh, that content that I posted yesterday didn't work for me. What do I need to post today? You're caught up in like the robot routine of posting content. If you're ready to get out of the content box, if you're ready to stop sounding like everyone else online and start clearly explaining what you do in a way that feels like you, not feels like you're trying on someone else's fur jacket that they use in their branding or their like pink blazer, but feels like you, so that the right people want to hire you, I want you to send me a DM because you need to be inside the Story Selling Accelerator. This is my signature program where it's my favorite. Honestly, I love it. It's so much fun. You need to be inside it because right now you've got the offers, you've got the launch plans, and when you're actually working with a client, it's magic. But getting people to see that magic feels impossible. Right? Like you've been posting every single day for the most part. Maybe you've missed a couple of days. That's okay. Perhaps you even tried that visibility sprint that I talked about and you posted 3 times a day to see if that would change anything. Perhaps you've invested in ads to see if that would change anything. But it feels like no one knows you exist. And you've questioned if you've been shadow banned. You've thought about different ways you can increase the number of views, the number of eyeballs you get on your posts. But there's one thing that's super clear, and that's that you have a gap in your marketing and you don't know what it is, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You wouldn't be following me in whatever capacity you've been following me, right? So what we focus on inside the accelerator is we focus on your positioning, AKA why people want to invest in you. This is where we get clear on what you offer that other people don't. And you don't have to be a crazy magical unicorn to have positioning that stands out. People always ask me like, what if I'm not special? You are. And by the end of our kickoff call, you will think so too. We focus on clear messaging, AKA who the heck you are actually selling to. This is where we get into the minds of your dream clients. Okay, you probably already have an ideal client avatar. That's great, but we go deeper than that. This is where knowing that you want to work with mompreneurs might get you some follows, but actually knowing what to say to them to get them to think you get me is what's going to make them buy. Then we focus on the proof that you've got skills. Don't panic. I make this easy for you. This is where we show your audience why you are the best person to offer this. Whether you've gotten yourself results, a friend results, or you have had a client wins, we can work with that. Then we go into posting for conversions. This is where we put everything you worked on above that we just talked about and put it together in a story. a reel, a thread, a carousel, an email, you name it. Doesn't matter. It's applicable to whatever piece of content that you put out there. And we do something super cool on Fridays. It's Feedback Fridays, where you get to submit your content for the following week, and I will give you feedback on it over the weekend, and you can make adjustments and tweaks so that you're consistently strengthening that content creation skill. And then lastly, we work on reading your audience. This is where you actually look at the data of your content that you put out in the past week, and you make adjustments to your strategy so that you can actually build momentum quicker, right? Faster results. Yes, please. We do this as a group in our bi-weekly strategy sessions. And this is key because right now you're like, oh, that last post didn't work. Well, I guess I have to come up with something that might work. And you're like picking straws, trying to figure it out. No, we know exactly what your audience wants to see when you actually learn how to read your data. Okay. So what's included? You get a 45-minute kickoff call with me. On that first call, you're going to walk away knowing exactly who you are here to serve, what makes you different, and why you are the person that people should be investing in for your niche. You get 60 minutes bi-weekly, but honestly, we go overtime a lot. 60-minute bi-weekly strategy sessions where we're going to go over your data and we're going to make tweaks to your strategy so that you actually see results. You're not going to be sitting on a hot seat called asking the same question over and over and over again. We actually look at the data and you're like, okay, fix this. And then you go and implement. Feedback Fridays, like I already talked about, and you get the entire library of trainings and workbooks that you can learn from at your own pace. And these trainings themselves have helped my clients make bank. Included in these trainings is the main character messaging course that I referenced in today's episode. So the investment for the Story Selling Accelerator is going up in 2026. Transparency marketing note here, like breaking the fourth wall. But the reason why I'm doing this is because my clients have gotten insane results. And I realize I'm charging way too low for this program. Like some of my clients make back their investment within month one. And I've had clients go from $4,000 months to $15,000 months in 2 months following these strategies. Okay. So the reason why the investment is going up is because you're going to make bank when you join the Story Selling Accelerator. So if you are ready to get out of the content box, stop sounding like everyone else, and actually have a story-based sales system to follow every single week when you're creating content so that your people feel activated, they trust you, they remember you for what you do and your work, then you need to be inside the accelerator. You can join via the link below in this description, whether you're watching on YouTube, podcast, whatever. And you can also send me a DM on Instagram and just say like, I'm interested in joining SSA. Can you tell me more? And we can have a little chit chat about it. But time is running out. The price is going up in 2026. So get in now. We start in January, but if you get in now, you can start diving into those resources. You can book your kickoff call with me and we can get started. So I hope you all found this episode really helpful. If you have any questions about how to turn your educational content into more story-based content that's going to sell for you, send me a post and ask me to help you see that for yourself, because that sounds like a really fun game and I would love to do it for you for free. And again, ask me about the accelerator or grab your seat now so that you can save a little moolah going into 2026. Thank you all for listening. I cannot wait to hear your feedback on this. If you enjoyed this episode, give it a rating, give me a like, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll see you all in the next episode.